Greetings of the day, everyone. This is Vikramjit Singh, a data science and business analytics intern at the Sparks Foundation. Here in this video, I am showing you the first task of my internship where I had to make a prediction using supervised machine learning. Here in this question, I was given the data of a school where I was having the number of hours the student studies and the scores scored by them. And based on this data, I had to make a prediction for a student X who studies for 9.25 hours per day, and I had to tell that what percentage will the student score. So here's the answer solution to this question. Firstly, I imported all the libraries required for the same. Secondly, the data. As you can see here, I am having two columns as stated earlier, hours and scores. And after that, I use the same data to make a graph scatter plot basically, so as to check that whether is there any relationship between the data or not, between the columns or not. And from there from this graph I came to know that there's a direct relationship between the marks scored by the student and the study hours. After that, I prepared the data for making a machine learning model. And before making the machine learning model, I firstly split the data into two parts, train data and test data. And using the train data, I made a machine learning model, and I use supervised machine learning and use linear regression here for making the model. After that, I used made a graph using that model's data, and basically the coefficient and the intercept from the model, and using the x, basically the independent variable of the data, and made a line using that, and use that line and the data to make a plot and basically a line chart. And secondly, use the earlier data which I use for the scatter plot to make a scatter plot, and combine these two graphs in a single line so as to check that are they are they interrelated or not. And from here I can see that the uh, line model, basically the line shows that the scatter plot is quite nearer to it, or you can say the line is nearer to the scatter plot. After that, I made that use that model to make a prediction and use the test data so as to check that the made prediction which I'll make is nearer or closer to the y test, basically the uh, data which I'll actual values. And after that, I used here the predicted value and the actual value and made a comparison between the two. And here, after making the comparison, I had calculated the mean absolute error so as to check that what is the net error of the data, and what how much the data differs from the actual values. And from here I came to know that the mean absolute error is 4.183. And now, coming to the main task of the question, that what percentage will the student score if he she studies for 9.25 hours per day. Used and based on the data and the model, I came to know that if a student studies for 9.25 hours per day, then he she will score 93.69 percentage approximately at the end of the year. So here's an end to the question. This was the final result of the question. Thank you very much, Sparks Foundation, for this question.